This was a rough night, man. We didn't get stuff done the way we wanted to on either side of the ball, and man, we were excited about the chance and wanted to go after these guys and go get them. You saw we were really aggressive throwing the ball in the first half. Got us out of balance run pass wise. I know that, but we had so many good opportunities, and Gino was able to find his guys on the actions and all that. It got us in the red area, and then we didn't function well, and we got sacked a little bit, we got hit a little bit, and it didn't work out. I was really disappointed that we didn't stop them more. There was a space in that game. There were 3 or 4 drives in a row, and we couldn't get off the field. And it wasn't all third down stuff. They did a nice job. They have a really good offense, and they do a nice job with it. Obviously, Pickens was really a problem for us. And it wasn't just when he caught it; it was his after catch stuff that really was impressive. That he was able to run through us like that. I'm just surprised that we weren't able to be because we knew he was a good player. We went in to defend him. We rolled to him. We covered him. We doubled him a couple times, and he still came through. So he had a heck of a night, and I don't even know Dak's numbers, but he must have had a pretty good night himself. 25-33, so he was on it. So very difficult night for us. Sorry about it.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation, 1st and 10, brought to you by the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos, STN Sports. Vinny Bonsignore, Adam Hill. We cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation, and we are here at Allegiant Stadium a few hours after the Raiders' 3rd loss in a row, after their 8th loss in 10 games. It didn't look any better today than it has in the 7 previous losses, maybe even in some cases worse. I felt like there was a missed opportunity to play a young player in Caleb Rogers when it was just screaming for them to play him. They didn't, and we'll get into that. Not only did he not play, he didn't even dress out. We'll get into all of that. You just heard from Pete Carroll kind of breaking down what exactly happened today. It just wasn't good. It didn't look good. I don't think it was well planned out.
No.
I felt like it was poorly planned out in terms of what they were trying to do. They wanted to throw to then run it, which is right up your alley, basically, but they just couldn't do it because they couldn't protect Geno Smith, and a lot of things that went wrong, obviously, in a 33-16, was that?
33-16.
33-16 loss. It didn't even feel like it was that close, to be honest with you, but that was what the score was. But the Raiders clearly are a ways away from being anything of anything. And I think tonight clearly showed that against a good Dallas Cowboys offense that turned out to look pretty good defensively because they were playing the Raiders offense.
Yeah, and they added some players. I think
Yeah.
we talked about that going in. I think the additions from the Cowboys, not only at the trade deadline, but also guys that were coming back from injured reserve, were very helpful. I think very impactful in
Definitely.
the game. And it's tough to say. I mean, the interior of the defensive line, which now should be a real strength for Dallas, looked unbelievable. Now, is that they really are that good that quickly with just bringing in Quinton Williams and adding him to the mix that they have there, or is it that the interior of the Raiders line was awful on the offensive side? I think it's more of the latter, but we'll find out as things go. There was a lot of matchup problems with the Raiders where they just were completely overwhelmed, overmatched, ill-prepared, not good. I mean, there's a lot of things you can point to just in terms of preparedness and readiness and all the other things that are going on. I thought late in the game when Dallas took the field to take a knee, and the Raiders had too many men on the field on a play where the other team was just taking a knee.
Yeah.
It's baffling. It's inexcusable. It's awful, and it's a sign of everything else that's going on. And by the way, it wasn't 12 guys on the field. It was more. Like that's preposterous. That can't happen.
Yeah.
And that's something that happened, here late in the season. It's not week 1 of the preseason. Like that's not acceptable, and it showed lack of focus and discipline and everything else that's going on. And I think that was a microcosm of just everything tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And let's start with that offensive line and that interior of the offensive line, which did not look good whatsoever today. All right, so Jackson Powers-Johnson is out most likely for the season. We saw him in the locker room. It doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon. That meant to me and to a lot of us, and even really to the Raiders, to a lot of people, some people in the Raiders building, and maybe even in his heart of hearts, Pete Carroll. and Chip Kelly would have loved to have gotten Caleb Rogers out there to get some much-needed development time. Now, Pete Carroll, but that didn't happen.
Nope.
What did the Raiders end up doing? All right, they took Jordan Meredith, who moved from guard to center this year. They moved him back to guard, right guard specifically, to replace Jackson Powers-Johnson. Then they took Will Putnam, a second-year player who was an undrafted free agent last year, spent all of last year on the practice squad. I think he might have gotten called up a time or two, but he was basically a practice squad guy. And this year played guard. He was playing guard. In fact, he played guard against the Denver Broncos when Dylan Parham got hurt. They moved him to center. That's the position that he played in college. So rather than just put Caleb Rogers in at right guard, they flip-flopped a center to guard and then a guard to center. And it didn't work without question. My biggest issue is I think this was an opportunity to play Caleb Rogers, like I said. And now, look, whether you agree with it or disagree, and Adam and I both disagree, Pete Carroll, as he told us, and when I asked him about it, he's like, look, I'm trying to win games. Caleb Rogers, I'd love to play Caleb Rogers, but he needs to show me in practice that he's ready to play. And obviously that didn't happen. Not only did he not play, like I said, he didn't dress. So in their eyes, he's not ready to play, and Pete's still of that mindset that you build a winning culture by winning football games. My job is to win games. We're going to put the best players out there to win games. Again, agree or disagree, we disagree, but that was his reasoning for not playing Caleb Rogers. My counter argument to that is, first of all, he should have been playing.
Yeah.
And secondly, even if you weren't comfortable with him starting, when the game became a blowout, maybe it's time to put him out there and get some reps. Really, he should have been doing that all along. Because there have been some blowout losses where Caleb could have gotten in, and it should put it this way: it shouldn't have come to a point where his debut in the NFL was going to come on Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 11, and he should have gotten some reps before that. It's beside the point at this point. Your thoughts on Pete Carroll's thought process and his just kind of hanging on to got to win this game that's in front of us.
Yeah, I think if you want to say, hey, they should play the young guys or focus on the young guys, like they kind of did. Will Putnam is a young guy. It's not like he's an older player.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem saying, hey, he's earned it. We're going to give him a shot. Go ahead. Now, again, Caleb Rogers, you've invested a lot more in, theoretically should be ready. And by the way, Caleb Rogers is not like a 2-year college guy who's developing. He was a major college player who played a full 4 years and should have been close to ready if you're going to draft him. Again, if there's focus issues or things like that going on in practice, okay, like that's fine. There's a lot here, though. Like, first of all, Will Putnam, yes, is more of a natural center. So he goes to center, you kick Jordan Meredith out to guard. But Jackson Powers-Johnson is also a natural center. And we were told all along, no, it's just that Jordan Meredith looks so good at center, and he's such a prototypical guy. That's why he's at center.
Well, I think
Okay.
I think you're overstating that he looks really good at center. It was more that we just feel like he's better suited at center because he's not big enough to play guard. That was. I never heard him anything about.
I heard Jason
he's
Kelsey's
so
name mentioned at one point.
Yeah, he said he'd remind. Yeah, that's true.
Yes,
that was Chip
yes,
Kelly.
but
That's
that was
true.
those are the arguments that were made, and now all of a sudden those are gone. Like, there's just so much at play here.
Yes,
There's so many moving pieces.
I agree with the bigger point. I just don't remember anyone saying that he was really good.
That they projected, like they just looked at him and said, hey, this is a center. This is a guy that should be playing center. We want to make him our center. And that was where it was at. But then now all of a sudden with Will Putnam, he's so good. By the way, based on his performance today, I would say no.
I'm pushing back on the so good. I don't think that any. I don't know that.
No, I'm saying Will Putnam is so good at center that he's better suited to play there. But then Jordan Meredith kicks out. Like, if that's being shown at practice, that is absolutely not what was seen on the field. I'll just
no doubt. And I think they're stuck with some pretty Jags right now.
Just another guy.
Just a couple of other guys. And that's just the reality of the situation. And they're young guys, at least who are we really to say we're not at practice? So we don't know how bad Caleb Rogers looks or doesn't look or whatever the case might be. But in their eyes, they're just not ready. And I'll say this. I just don't know that Pete Carroll has ever not played a young guy that he believes are ready. He's known for that. So it begs the question, what's Caleb Rogers not showing?
Was Will Putnam ready?
Readier. readier. There's
That
something to be said about
might
that.
be the most horrifying thing that's ever been said on this podcast, if that's the case.
If that's the case.
I'm
just surmising.
Because either there's only a couple of options here.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
I'm
There's
just
a
surmising.
couple
Like,
of
I
options.
don't know. I'm not out there at practice, so I don't know. I can't make that call.
Either they absolutely made one of the biggest blunders of all time of drafting him.
And I don't think that is the case.
I don't either.
I can't. There's no way. I mean, I have to see it.
Or, and based on everything I know about him, which is not much, we've been around him not that much, but or he is just clowning around at practice and disrespecting the game or something along those lines. Okay, possible. I suppose that's possible. Or there's a philosophical disagreement going on somewhere in the building. I mean, those are the only options that you could possibly have at this point.
Yeah, it's got to be something, And again, I'm just surmising. Sometimes you got to put yourselves. All right, what
Sure.
are you, and so and it has been explained to me. Look, for coaches, it's about comfortability, and and I would imagine that Caleb had a rough day at practice at some point this week. And Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll said, yeah, that cat, we're not going to be able to do that. We got a quarterback to keep upright and all that. So like I'm saying, that doesn't make Will Putnam a really good player, because Will Putnam's a undrafted free agent. Are we getting water over here? As an undrafted free agent from Clemson who, but my point is you need to get him out there. You need to get Caleb out there playing a little bit. And this would have been a good opportunity, because here's the other part. They weren't playing good.
No.
Will Putnam and Jordan Merritt, they wasn't working, as we saw with Geno Smith kind of running for his life.
I think that was my other point that we were making, that when we were going into that was, if Pete Carroll's philosophy is, hey, I want to build this by winning. I want to, I don't want to build it through, losing games and getting draft picks and building it that way. I don't want to build it through developing younger guys. I want to build this by winning and doing everything we can each week to win and showing that's the standard that's going to be set. Fine. That's okay. That's not my philosophy. That's Pete Carroll's philosophy, and that is totally fine. It's absolutely acceptable, and I'm not going to dispute that that's a way to do it.
But they're not doing either.
But they're not doing it. So if that is your philosophy, it's failing.
Well, yeah, it's not. You're now you're missing two opportunities here.
Right.
You're obviously not building the winning formula. The winning. You're not setting the winning foundation right now the way you thought you were, and you're not getting a guy like Caleb Rogers out on the field. Maybe it's time to scale back on one in favor of the other. All right, so that's that. That's number one. Number two, the Raiders came into this game, and Pete Carroll took full responsibility for it, believing that there were opportunities to create a lead through the pass game. And just really, just pass game. Obviously, lots of teams score points by throwing the ball. But they went so hard on the pass that they almost set a record, or they did some crazy stuff where they dropped back in the first half 31 times and ran it 3 times, which is an absurd out of balance. Now, talking to Pete Carroll, and I asked him, I go, that doesn't sound like a you-coached team right there, and I can't imagine you'd be happy. He was like, well, whoa. That was my plan. I had a heavy influence in the game plan this week, and his thought was, we'll throw it, then we'll get a lead, then we'll revert back to the run. Well, again, neither happened. Why? Because they couldn't get the lead. They kept bogging down in the red zone by getting sacks mostly to settle for field goals rather than touchdowns. And in the meantime, the Raiders' defense, after a few gallant tries, then could not slow down the Cowboys. So the lead that the Raiders thought they were going to get in order to then revert back to the run went to the Cowboys, and then they couldn't run because they were playing catch-up. And
because they couldn't block. That's another factor. I actually have some thoughts on this, not surprisingly, and I think they were actually right. They were actually right in what they were saying, but there wasn't a second part of this. They got the first part of the formula correct. The second part of the formula, I think, was where they failed, and we'll talk about that on the other side. So we take a break here. First and 10 podcast here on Vegas Nation continues after this.
Welcome back. to Vegas Nation First and 10. By the way, it's raining here in Las Vegas, and it's raining here at Allegiant
That's
Stadium.
why, if you might have thought that was an abrupt break that
It
I didn't know I
was.
was doing, it's definitely leaking here in this, in this stadium.
And Adam and I did not start a fist fight or anything.
No.
Because we're actually in full agreement on it.
The UNLV played the other night, and it's happened before, but it was pouring rain here when UNLV was playing on Saturday, and the roof was leaking.
Right.
Something's leaking here again at Allegiant Stadium. It happens when there's rain here in Las Vegas.
But we're gamers and we'll rise above it.
For sure.
So Adam was saying that he actually agreed with I get throwing it to set up whatever.
Yeah.
But
well,
not
here's
to
what
that
happened.
extent.
This is what happened. So last week, there was a stat surfacing around, and there was actually film of it to back it up. There was somebody who does a lot of film breakdown and pointed out that I believe it was 12 different occasions the Raiders just came out, jammed it into the line of scrimmage on first down, ran the ball up the middle. I believe 12 times for 2 yards or less last game against Denver. And obviously we saw the results of that on offense. It wasn't good. The Raiders came out and said, and Pete Carroll said he influenced his game plan. He liked it. He said they thought they could go play action, get Geno out of the pocket, and get some open receivers and get the ball downfield and create some big plays in the passing game, especially on first down with the play action. And
Which
guess
they
what?
did early.
By the way, they did.
Yeah.
That was by far their most success today.
Yeah.
So the positive that you take from this is the Raiders understood where they were being scouted, where they were making errors, and said, hey, everybody knows we're just running the ball on first down almost blindly. Just come out, run the ball, get something going on first down, and go from there. They understand they're doing it. They self-scouted. Great job. And it worked because they got Jack Besh out in the flat on one. They got Ian Thomas downfield on a play, I believe. They got Brock Bowers out. That was by far their most success. So they said, this is what we're doing. This is how you counter it. This is how we know teams are playing us. We know the Cowboys are going to play the run on first down because that's what we do. We're going to go play action, get you out of the pocket and go. Fantastic job. There just wasn't a counter. There wasn't a second plan. There was, hey, we're going to come out and land this big punch. Now what? It's still the failures in the red zone continue because they were able to get the ball in the red zone 3 times. They got field goals 3 times.
And they kept getting knocked back.
And by the way, 3 for 3 for Daniel Carlson on field goals after the move.
Right.
But
they couldn't block.
But they were able to do that successfully. They just didn't have another plan. They didn't have a secondary option off of that. They didn't have the follow where they stagger the Cowboys, get them on the ropes, couldn't knock them out with
and maybe
anything.
It's different if they score a couple of touchdowns down there and take the lead, and then you're playing more on your terms. But that just didn't happen, and the counter didn't happen, and your 6th pick overall was basically a non-factor. Although he was getting after it on the play action blocking. They threw it to him. It was
threw it to him 8 times, caught 6, but only for 27 yards.
Yeah. So, look, and like Pete Carroll said afterwards, I don't have all the answers.
I forgot to do my signature. I just made that up, by the way.
What?
Remember, it was early in the year. There was a lot of people. I'd like to say when I just know a stat off the top of my head, I just made that up. I didn't make it up. I know that's what the stat is.
Exactly. He did not make that up.
I do like to just say I just made that up and get people annoyed.
Turns out, not only did he make it up, he made it up. He was right.
Yeah.
So blind squirrel, all that. So and as Pete Carroll said afterwards, look, I don't have all the answers, and that's pretty obvious. Whether he was dealt a bad hand or overbit. Took it too big of a bite of the apple and is just shocked, shell shocked, surprised, whatever. The fact of the matter is, especially now with some of these injuries, they don't have the horses to do what they really want to be doing. Maybe that would have worked with Colton Miller and some really good offensive linemen out there with them, but they don't. And so, as Adam said, they didn't have any kind of a fallback. And by the time you looked up, they're down by double-digit points, and there goes the really ability to run it anyway. And now they're just teeing back and getting after Geno.
Here's the problem. We spent a lot of time on the offense so far. The defense was atrocious.
Yeah,
it was awful. Mm-hmm. So we can focus on the offense we have for most of this podcast, and that's where we'll go. The defense was also awful. The tackling was terrible, and I thought, to me, the worst of the defense. First, just a free release on a tight end in the red zone on a 4th down play. Jake Ferguson just gets wide open. Mm-hmm. Basically just runs 8 yards and turns around at the goal line. Like, you can't have that happen. Could not cover at all. But to me, the worst of the worst was you get torn up in the first half. Obviously, they had a good first drive because CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens didn't play. You torn up in the first half. You go into halftime, and they came out, and I thought one of their worst drives I've seen all year was the first drive for the Cowboys in the second half, where they just weren't tackling at all.
Yeah.
And that you thought there would be some, going into the locker room and
George
regrouping
Pickens was
and
just running over people.
And
through
it was
people, I should say.
And he wasn't alone. It was just really bad. And I thought that was the worst part for the defense. But special teams positive for the most part. There was a mistake in coverage on one of them, but go back and watch Daniel Carlson's kickoffs. By the way, for those out there who are, I just really need to see something positive. Kickoffs were really, really good. 3 for 3 on field goals. I guess the challenge worked by bringing in a practice squad kicker.
Right.
We'll see if he's here tomorrow. By the way, I don't know if he will be. Greg Joseph on the team.
He made like $22,000 or so.
Sure, and I think he might go on an active roster tomorrow somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that was good, and also I saw a lot of criticism of the onside kick punt.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So here's the thing.
It was actually,
a lot of people were criticizing it. It was actually a really, really good play.
Just you gotta close it. That's
somebody's got to go get the ball.
Yeah.
And the rule is, for those that know, as I understand it, it's a pretty complicated rule. It's actually a live ball before it even hits the ground, as long as there's no fair catch called. Now, I thought I saw a fair catch called. I know, talking to some people that were on the field, they said they didn't see a fair catch called, and they said the officials did not acknowledge a fair catch was called. So if no fair catch is called, you can catch it in the air. You don't have to wait for it to hit the ground. Yeah. So that's why they did it. I thought it was a really, really –
It was off of safety, by the way.
Off of safety, right. Not only well planned.
And you don't have to tell them, by the way.
Right, but very well
because
executed.
It's the way it's lined up.
Yeah, very well executed, very well planned. Yep. The ball lands. Somebody just has to go get it.
It was very well kicked.
Well, so I said well executed. Well executed in the kick. The kick was exactly where you wanted it to be.
Because the rest of it wasn't.
So I saw some people criticizing and mocking on social media. Like, I
was like, no. Then I looked at it. I was like, holy cow, that was actually a really good kick.
It was perfect. They had a great chance to get that ball back, which would have been fantastic for them at that point. Oh, that was pretty much over. I mean, they're not 17, but
would have been a great play.
Would have been a great play and should have been a great play. Somebody's just got to go get the ball. And that happened there. So I think that was just one important thing to point out. But Trey Tucker going down and fielding the ball for bounce and going backwards wasn't ideal.
Exactly. All right, we're going to close it out with this. And Tom Brady was in the house. It was a Monday night, so he works his games on Sunday, and this is the second Monday night game. The only 2 times that the Raiders have played on Monday night that Tom Brady was here in the building. Obviously, he is a minority owner, a limited partner of the Raiders, but he's also the de facto Raiders president of football operations. He's calling the shots and has a big, massive say in everything that the Raiders do. I can't imagine that Tom Brady was very happy watching what he was
watching his work,
partly what since he's kind of come aboard. This is a work in progress without question. There's a lot of bad decisions that have been made over the years. It was never going to get undone in 1 year, but yes, some of his decisions, have contributed to what we're seeing on the field this year. Which begs the question. And by the way, this column by Ed Graney is on Vegas Nation. You can go check it out. Is it time for Tom Brady to take his role as the de facto president of football operations? Not a little bit more seriously. I'm not gonna say that he's not taking it seriously, but be more present, here in Las Vegas, because I've talked to a lot of people in the NFL, and the general consensus is that's a full-time job. It's not something that you could have all the meetings, the FaceTime calls. You could have all the Zoom meetings that you want. There's nothing like being here on a day-to-day basis to get things done. And I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I said that in the offseason. I don't think it's going to happen. He's not going to turn down $30 million for watching football on Sundays and talking about
You think a loss like this, seeing it up close and personal, makes him say, you know what? If this is what you want to do, and really, I'm not going to say he's their only hope, but he's probably their best hope. But it has to be a fully engaged.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. It's what we discussed when back when we were talking about the potential of if they're going to change the rules or relax the rules, what he has as a broadcaster. My point was at the time, I think the Raiders should be the team most fighting for him not to be able to call games. Like that should be on they should be the leading voters and the leading voice of saying, hey, ban him from all these other games so that he can do the job full time if that's what he wants to do. It is a full time job if you want to be in that role. How much exactly he does, I mean, it's different talking to different people. It can't be as much as it should be, or it can't be as much as every other person in that position. It can't. He's working
physically possible.
Right, so he's working.
Yeah,
he has another job, and so that's the basis of it is how much ever he can spend all day if he wants to when he's not around here, but if he's got to be around if he wants to do that. So I don't know that he should be or shouldn't be. It's his choice what he wants to do.
I think for the Raiders,
I don't know if it's better. I don't know if it's better if he's around. Honestly, it might be better if he's not around at all. That's very possible.
Could be, yeah.
So I mean, it's up to him and it's up to everybody else around to decide, how much he wants to do, how much he wants to be around, all those other things. Like, if he wants to do it, and if he watched tonight and said, "Hey, I don't like where this is going. I need to focus on this full time and give up broadcasting," maybe that would help. If it went the other way, if he said, "Look, clearly I haven't put enough time into this. I'm going to step away from the day-to-day and just be an owner. I can show up at the games and be a part of the team, but I'm not going to have any, day-to-day say anything." Like, that would be fine, too. I don't ever see that happen. Neither do I. I don't ever see that happen. I think it's going. My thought is it's going to continue just as it has been.
Yeah, we'll see.
And the results will probably be just as they have been.
We shall see. But keep an eye on that, and go to VegasNation.com and check out Ed's column about that very subject. That's going to do it for us. They're breaking the building down. I don't know exactly what's coming up here at Allegiant Stadium, but I do know that it's going to be the Raiders against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, and Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. We'll be back with you guys on Wednesday. We're finally on a normal week, so we'll be back at it on Wednesday. Thanks to Heidi Fang. Thanks to Dominic Lavoie, our great support system here. Thank you to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And
I wasn't going to thank Dominic today. He had a very, very awful music take earlier that I wasn't going to include. But look,
he's so dapper, though. He's so dapper. So I can't wait to hear what that music take was, and I'm probably going to agree with Mr. Lavoie.
You are not.
Oh, really?
I can assure you.
Is it a country song that he...
No, he essentially said he wasn't sure that there was a difference between Nelly and LL Cool J.
Okay, that's ridiculous. By the way, I'm a huge LL Cool J fan.
Sure, yeah.
But they're not one and the same.
No.
They're not even close to being one and the same.
Not.
Even I know that.
No, they're not.
And I'm a big fan of LL.
And I'm a big Nelly fan.
Yeah, I'm a Nelly fan too. I just think, but...
It came up, just so you know, Nelly was the halftime performer.
I know Heidi likes LL Cool J too. Of course, man. My wife, that's one of her crushes, by the way. And he was really good too. So anyway, topic for another day, obviously. We'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy your Tuesday and hang in there. Maybe there's better days ahead.